Oh, contact!
Oh my god!
Massive crash!
Bourbon boy!
Welcome back, ladies and G's, to another instalment of Tier Elite in FTR. We are here at the Hungary ring for round 2 of the championship. Currently, as things stand, after round 1 in Spain, we are leading the championship. After my first ever win in Tier Elite, we are numero uno. Something I never thought I'd say in the history of Tier Elite, because there are some exceptionally quick drivers in this lobby and tier. Our first flying lap of this qualifying session, we did do a outlap on a set of inters, basically just to save a set of softs for the race in case there was a late safety car, because in league racing anything can happen when you least expect it. So down into turn 2, completely missing the inside of the apex, but we're managing to maximise the track limits to get on that power nice and early. First sector split is a 27.199, not the best around Hungary. You certainly want to be in the low 27s. Yeah, sector 2 so crucial around this track specifically. Yeah, we've made a few mistakes already. If you don't get the rhythm and the flow right on this track, you will be punished with your lap time. As it says, we've done a purple middle sector. We're 53.9. I didn't believe that at the time, purely because of how bad some of the corners were. I think this qualifying lap, the first run, was probably one of the worst I've done. You know, in practice we were doing low 15s, and yeah, a 15.599 putting us P5 was certainly not the position I wanted to put myself in going into this race.
Oh no.
However, fortunately on this game, you are able to do another run on the same set of tyres. So we fueled the car purposely for a second run in case we made a shambles of the first run, which is what we did. And as we come down into turn 2, we're a lot tighter this time. You can see the delta increasing through every corner. We are a tenth of a second up. My monitor giving me some issues, but that's a 27.09 in sector 1, much better than what we did the first time around. Can we make better use of this chicane? Tightly up against the curb, hopping the second curb, and we're nearly a tenth and a half up. The left-right sequence, I turned in a little too early and then got a big kick of oversteer, effectively ruining my middle sector, but we get such a good run out of that right-hander. We're still 1/10 up, a tenth and a half now. Can we perfect these final 2 corners? You see the delta creeping up into the 0.2 of a second there. Can we keep that up around the final corner? We can improve by 0.3 of a second.
If you can get a good sector.
However, it is only good enough to move us into P4. 2 purple
monitor
sectors, the first and the third. And yeah, we shot our chance big time to be further up this grid. So a 15.3 is what essentially we've got now to beat on our final run.
Terrible sector 1.
As we round the final corner then, dash towards the line. What is it we're going to set? A 1:15.047 puts us P3 on the grid. If only we'd perfected Sector 1, or at least matched what we did on our second run, we could have been on the front row.
And it's lights out!
What?
And it's lights out and away we go!
What is one?
Ah, I've got no force feedback! I've got no force feedback!
Ooh!
I've got no force feedback.
I think you passed by.
Green flag.
I've lost FFB! I've lost FFB!
Okay, the safety car is out.
This will be a restart.
We need to safety car.
Sometimes you just need to sit back and watch what unfolds without me talking over it. And yeah, what a hectic start. The red flag, the restart, no force feedback, the little bit of contact down at turn 1. This was resolved quite amicably between myself and Radius. He understood I had no force feedback. But one issue I found with this game when we do get red flags is even when you select your tyre setting or your new choice preference of tyre, it doesn't always give you what you ask for. As you're about to see, I already have 11% worn softs on the front. Yeah, so we're essentially going to be a sitting duck for quite a few of these guys behind us, especially the medium runners, who were electric, might I add. The medium tyre felt like the perfect race strategy tyre around the Hungaro ring. The softs were great for 3 or 4 laps, and then the pace just completely fell off a cliff. And yeah, it balanced out very, very quickly. So, lap 6 then, middle of sector 2. I've got my teammate Zinity behind me. I'm not really going to fight this too much when we get onto the pit straight. I'm quite happy for Zinity to go and run his own race. And we'll wait and see what comes about, essentially, when we make our stop. But the other drivers behind, I believe, 9 out of the 19 that were running were on softs. So at least we were in a shout for a potential undercut, which is so powerful on this game. Definitely a strategy you need to keep in your back pocket when league racing, as Zinity's going to go and have a look down the inside of us into turn 1. We're leaving the room, not fighting that too hard.
Zinity.
And Zinity can just drive off now, and essentially I'll be a bit of a roadblock for Zinity. Try and hold Cot and Levy Martins up while Zinity breaks out of that DRS range. But yeah, the race settling down nicely now as we pick up an unnecessary track warning on lap 7. This track is so tough to keep it in between the white lines and be quick. As you'll see later on, a lot of drivers picking up penalties left, right and centre. But for now, we're already thinking about what sort of strategy we're going to implement around the Hungaro ring. So I believe at this point I've already been discussing a potential
I'm pretty
two-stop.
sure I selected mediums under the red flag,
with Char,
and it put me back on my original
race engineer.
softs.
The hards would have been the ideal solution, but I know I had the pace around here, and as you've already seen, we've already had one safety car, so the chances of them are high around this track, as we do a little bit of defending from Cot round the outside of us now, trying to take that position. And yes, there we go, another safety car, so this is ideal for us. We can dive straight into the pits, get onto a fresh set of mediums, as there's a lovely bit of pit lane bait between Zinity and Cot, trying to coax one another into.
A few moments later.
And this is where you're going to see how overpowered brand new tyres are versus used tyres on this game. So we are the lead car from the original cars that have pitted. So we did come out in P9, which is great for us. Now we just need to utilise these tyres against the old mediums ahead and start picking off and working our way through the grid. First up then is Alfie. We're going to have a look down the inside into turn 2. Later on the brakes, Alfie leaves us just enough room. I don't think he was expecting me to show a nose in there, but yeah, P8 it is. And now we're hunting down Viper as we set a purple sector 1. Viper running wide after turn 4. It's just going to be a case of putting the pressure on Viper now, see if he can make a mistake, but not get too close so we don't damage our front wing. So at this point it's crucial we find a way past Viper, because as you can see, Kindful player in front on those hard compound tyres is extending his gap with every corner, and we get such an amazing run out of turn 11. We're going to go down the inside of Viper into 12, and that is P7 and another position gained. Crucially, we've got 2 cars between us and the guys who've got the fresher tyres. Now, we are going to fast forward this next lap, but keep an eye on the delta to Kindful player, and this is just how overpowered fresher tyres really are. So after setting the fastest lap of the race, we are absolutely cooking on these medium compound tyres as we make a move up the inside of Xavi. Xavi runs a little bit wide on turn 1, promoting us into P5. We've got Radius and Grimes ahead of us. These two will be quite tough to get past. Both these guys are exceptionally quick. But view this the same as what we did with Viper. We need to put them under pressure, hoping and praying for a mistake. It's not very likely it's going to come from either of these drivers, but if you don't try, you're never going to get. As Radius gets a little bit squirrely on the exit out of the chicane, going through the left-right sequence here at Hungary in Sector 2, we are within 0.2 of a second. Depending on what the run is out of turn 11, we're going to have a look for a move on Radius. The gap, less than a tenth. This put me off in the race. I thought Radius was going to go and defend the inside, and then he jolted back across. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Is that a racing incident, or is that very aggressive defending from Radius? But as we get onto the pit straight, we've got DRS. We're going to burn some ERS as well. Make sure we get alongside Radius. Crucially, later on the brakes, getting that position done for P4, but as Grimes gets out wide on the run down to turn 2, we've got DRS and ERS. We're going to go round the outside of Grimes. Crucially for P3, we've sealed the deal, we've got the move done. Now it's time to push on towards COP. COP making that super easy for us then for P2. Now it's to charge down to catch Zinity for P1. 2 seconds to go. A lap later then, we are on the rear wing of Zinity, and crucially, we are within 1 second as we head into Sector 3. So we are going to get the DRS, and as we come around the final corner, we're going to take a nice swooping wide line so we can get on the power earlier. DRS open, a little squirt of ERS to get the move done way before the braking zone, although we do make an absolute hash of it into turn 1. I thought Zinity was going to go for a switchback, but he gets a terrible exit himself with a big kick of oversteer. However, 2 laps later, this happened.
You're joking. Not another one?
A few moments later.
So I've genuinely forgotten how many safety cars there's been in this race. I believe that was the 3rd one. But we are underway then on a fresh set of mediums. As we start lap 22, it is now going to be about whether we can pull away from Radius, Bourbon Boy, Zinity and Callum, who are on the softs as well, to effectively run away with this race where we can. although Radius gets a much better run.
Bourbon Boy might have been a bit more of a
turn
challenge for
3
Radius.
down towards turn 4. He's not going to have the pace to launch one up the inside there.
Was that with you,
So
Callum?
it is going to have to be
Yeah,
a
he
defensive
really lost it on the
masterclass
exit.
to keep Radius
I might have
behind as he's looking at all angles. Rolls reverse then. Earlier on in the race it was us pressurising Radius. This
Maybe
time
it was
around
just
Radius
watching.
is putting the pressure
You.
directly onto us. We're holding him off through sector
That's good
2.
to know.
The gap, a tenth and a half.
It could have ended way
Yeah,
worse.
I know
by
this
the
is
looks of it.
prime lunge territory for Radius. He's very good on the brakes in this game. And one thing I did notice on this lap was the progress Zinity and Callum had made. So Bourbon Boy's dropping down. Zinity and Callum on these brand new softs are making a real push through the field. But Radius gets such a good launch off that final corner. He's burning his ERS. We counter it so we can keep the inside line as we go side by side into turn 1. We get on the power a little sooner, deploy ERS again so we can cover the inside off for turn 2. Side by side for us both through here, leaving each other more than enough room. We do manage to hold on to P1 on this occasion. And the next few laps were pretty much identical to that of what's just happened on lap 23. We're going to skip forward to lap 27 where you can see some live footage from the FTR official page.
Well, Gaznik has gone for a Spinala. Radius looking to make the move around the outside. He's going to try and switch back. Spinala holding on again, placing the car perfectly to hold that position. You've put the car in the right place at this track. It is near enough impossible to overtake.
And that is essentially what we did for
think
those
Radius
7
is now
laps.
gonna
Make
burn.
sure we have the inside line for turn 3. Make sure we're in a strong position to cover the inside for turn 2 if necessary. Because yeah, overtaking at Hungary when you're on equal tyres is a challenge in itself. So yeah, we are on lap 31. 4 more laps of this Grand Prix to go.
Safety car.
Oh,
Come on.
no.
What's these cars restarts?
So,
It is like Spain all over again. 2 laps
not telling
of
him
normal
anything,
running
Radius.
after a late safety car. We've got Bourbon Boy and Xavi in P1 and 2 on all mediums. Myself, Radius and Grimes on brand new softs, and Radius gets a much better exit out the final corner than us. He's going to look round the outside. We brake very late, and what ends up trying to be a defensive move on Radius ends up looking like an overtaking opportunity on
What
Xavi.
is
So we've got Xavi in the middle, Radius on the outside. We're going to have to leave room on the inside for turn 2. We get the move done on Xavi and keep the position from Radius. Just Bourbon Boy left to go as we're running down to turn 4. The gap, 1.5 tenths of a second. And oh no, we've hit into the back of Bourbon Boy.
Oh my god, help!
Oh yeah! Oh my god! What the fuck? Oh yeah! Oh my god!
Oh, contact! Bourbon Boy's round. There's been a massive crash. Massive crash.
Oh, the old
Essentially, yeah,
Everyone has huge
it's my fault. I should have been more aware Bourbon was potentially going to be braking earlier than I'd expected, being the car on the fresher tyres. So yeah, my commiserations and apologies to Bourbon Boy and to those whose race I ruined. After the race, I was given a 5-second time penalty, so our win was stripped, giving it to our teammate and our Xfinity. But yeah, P2 in the end. It could have been a lot worse after all that. But yeah, a thoroughly enjoyable race to be a part of. But yeah, not the ending we wanted. Next up, round 3 at Spa. If you've enjoyed the video, please do drop a like, a comment. And if you enjoy the F1 content, make sure to drop a sub for more upcoming videos. We'll see you next week. Ta-da!